A faint hush drifts across the room tonight, the kind of gentle stillness that feels like the universe itself has exhaled. In that quiet, you settle into your pillow, letting the softness cradle your thoughts. The dimness around you seems to melt into the edges of your awareness, and you sense, almost instinctively, that this is a moment meant for drifting, for loosening the tight knots of the day, for stepping softly into the calm of the night. And so, in this peaceful hush, let me welcome you, quietly, slowly, to the Sleepy Science Channel. I'm glad you're here, truly. This space exists just for moments like this, when your mind feels heavy from thinking too much, when your thoughts still flicker and wander even though your body wants rest, when you need something soothing, something gentle, something thoughtful to guide you into the warm dark of sleep. Here, we drift through wonder, not noise. We wander through mysteries, not explanations. And everything we explore is softened into a lullaby of possibility, designed to ease rather than excite, to calm rather than challenge. So take a slow breath, just one, letting your chest rise softly, and then let it fall, like a quiet leaf descending through the night air. There is no rush here. No demands, no urgency, only the gentle rhythm of your breath and the slow, steady unfolding of the cosmos. As we begin, I invite you, only if you feel comfortable, to let your shoulders ease down, unclenching just a little. Let your hands rest naturally. Let your jaw release. Imagine settling deeper into the space beneath you. And if you feel like it, if the moment feels right, you can drift your attention just long enough to whisper a small support to this channel. Like, subscribe, or share your thoughts when morning returns. But only when it feels effortless. For now, if you're ready, we begin. Tonight, we step softly into the first movements of a much larger journey, a gentle wandering through 100 of the greatest mysteries in science. Not to solve them, not to debate them, not to chase them with bright, urgent curiosity, but to rest inside them. To treat each mystery like a glowing ember in the dark, warm, humbling, quietly beautiful. Each one will drift by like a slow constellation, guiding your mind deeper into calm, deeper into stillness, deeper into sleep. And so, we begin with the mystery that rests beneath all others, the question that lies beneath existence itself, and yet arrives on the softest whisper. Why is there something rather than nothing? No one knows, not really. Some say the universe blossomed from a quantum fluctuation. Others imagine cycles of endless expansion and contraction. Still more believe that perhaps existence simply is, without reason or cause. But none of these speculations can lift the veil completely. The origin of existence remains untouched, silent, unknowable, like a dark ocean with no visible shore. And somehow, this not knowing is strangely calming, because if the universe itself holds mysteries so deep they may never be answered, then your mind is allowed to rest. You don't have to figure everything out tonight. You can simply drift with the unknowable. From that quiet comes another mystery, one equally vast. What caused the beginning of time? Not just matter, not just energy, but time itself. The unfolding of moments, the arrow that carries us from what was to what will be. Scientists can trace the fabric of space-time back to the earliest fractions of a second after the Big Bang. But the instant before that, the true first moment, it disappears into silence. Without time, causation breaks. Beginnings become meaningless. The very idea of before dissolves into mist. Imagine that for a moment. A universe where time had not yet taken its first breath. A universe holding its breath in absolute stillness. And then, somehow, impossibly, the first second unfurled. And everything that ever would exist followed, including you, lying here now, listening, drifting. Let your breathing soften a little more. Let your mind sway gently, like a lantern suspended in the slow tide of the night. Another mystery rises, quiet, subtle, endlessly haunting. Why does time move only forward? The arrow of time is so familiar we rarely question it. We simply accept that the past is behind us, fixed. The future is ahead, unknown, and the present is the thin and fragile bridge between them. Yet no physical law insists that time must flow this way. Many equations work perfectly well in reverse. And still, reality chooses the forward direction, every single moment, without exception. No one fully understands why. Some whisper about entropy, others imagine deeper principles we cannot see. But the truth remains elusive, a soft flicker of uncertainty wrapped in the ordinary. And so we drift further, into the vastness of space, into the silent architecture of the cosmos, into questions that hang like dim stars in a moonless sky. How large is the universe? Is it infinite, stretching outward without end, or is it curved in a way that loops back on itself? The cosmos hides beyond the horizon of what we can observe, beyond the faint edge of every particle of light we've ever captured. All telescopes, all detectors, all instruments reach their limit, and the darkness beyond remains untouched. And that darkness is gentle in its own way. It asks nothing of you. It only drifts. Somewhere in that drifting, a quieter question emerges. Is our universe alone? The idea of the multiverse, countless universes, each with its own rules, its own forces, its own beginnings, remains a theory, a speculation, a whisper. But if true, it means our universe might be only one note in an endless cosmic symphony. Some universes might be bright and warm, others cold and silent, others strange beyond imagination. And yet, you exist in this one, in this moment, in this small pocket of time. And as you lie here, letting the calm settle deeper into your body, feel how soft that truth can be. The universe does not demand that you solve it. It simply invites you to rest within its mystery. Now, your breathing has likely slowed a little more. Your muscles feel heavier, softer. Your awareness drifts like a feather through the dark. Another mystery approaches, the quiet glow of dark matter. Scientists know it is there because galaxies move under its influence, because clusters hold together when visible matter alone could not, because gravity whispers of something unseen. Yet no one has touched it, captured it, or identified what it is made of. Dark matter is an invisible architecture, a ghost-like framework holding the cosmos in place. You don't have to grasp it, just let it pass by you. A gentle shadow moving through your thoughts. And nearby drifts another enigma, dark energy. The quiet force pushing galaxies apart, stretching space itself, accelerating expansion. What is it? Why does it exist? Will it continue forever? The answers slip away like distant echoes. Yet the mystery is soothing, because its uncertainty is soft, expansive, dreamlike. Feel your eyelids growing heavier. Feel your breath becoming slower. Let the gentle pull of these cosmic questions draw you toward deeper rest. We drift now to the fine-tuning of the universe, the improbable alignment of forces and constants that allow stars to form, planets to coalesce, chemistry to flourish, and life, fragile, delicate life, to arise. Change any constant even a little, and the universe collapses into chaos or emptiness. Scientists wrestle with this question, but no answer settles fully. And that's okay. The mystery itself is a quiet lullaby. As these questions soften around you, the night grows deeper. Your body grows heavier, and the universe, vast, ancient, unknowable, cradles you gently in its arms of wonder. Let the drift continue. Let the mystery guide you. Let yourself rest. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to float in a place where up and down don't exist, where light bends around you, where the edges of reality soften like warm wax? As you lie here tonight, that question becomes a gentle doorway, opening into the next stretch of our quiet journey. And with each breath you take, the night seems to grow wider, calmer, deeper.
inviting you to drift a little further into the soft arms of cosmic mystery. Let your breathing soften again, slow in, slow out, like a faint tide moving across the shore of your thoughts. You're not rushing toward anything. You're simply wandering through the quiet glow of the unknown. And so, we move deeper into the heart of the universe's unanswered riddles, where physics blurs into dream, and dream softens into rest. One of the strangest mysteries, and perhaps one of the most enchanting, waits in the quantum world, the smallest stage of existence, where reality behaves like a whisper. Particles can be in many states at once. They can exist here and there, now and later, in ways that defy ordinary understanding. Quantum superposition, this gentle, peculiar truth, remains one of the most mind-bending ideas in science. No one fully grasps.
Einstein called it spooky. And even now, no one truly knows how the universe binds these tiny dancers in such intimate unity. As you breathe, imagine those linked particles glowing faintly in the dark, moving together even when worlds apart. That quiet connection mirrors your own drifting mind, loosely tied to thoughts, memories, dreams, all softly entangled across the quiet expanse of your inner world. Now the night deepens further, and a new mystery rises like a distant star. The quantum measurement problem. Why does the act of observing, of simply being aware, collapse possibilities into one single reality? What is awareness in this context? Why does the universe respond to attention? Scientists debate, philosophers wonder, but the truth remains hidden like a faint lantern behind a veil. And in that hiddenness, there is peace. You don't need an answer. You only need the gentle glow of the unknown to lull your mind a little deeper. Your breath settles, your limbs rest heavier, the edge of sleep begins to soften. Now imagine standing at the very edge of physics, where the small and the large refuse to agree. General relativity describes the cosmic dance of stars, galaxies, gravity itself. Quantum mechanics describes the jittering ballet of the microscopic world. But these two languages, beautiful as they are, do not translate to each other. They exist like two melodies, harmonious but never merging. The search for quantum gravity, one theory to unify everything, remains an open question, like a half-finished lullaby. Some imagine strings vibrating in many dimensions. Others imagine loops or discrete bits of space-time. All theories shimmer with possibility, but none have settled into truth. Let your mind drift over this softly, like a feather falling on warm air. No need to grasp, no need to solve, just floating. Another quiet enigma waits at the threshold of black holes. These cosmic giants swallow light, swallow matter, swallow time itself. Yet questions remain. What truly lies at the center of a black hole? Is it a singularity or something softer, something hidden beyond our mathematics? And what happens to information that falls inside? Does it vanish forever, breaking the rules of physics? Or does it survive somehow, woven into the event horizon like faint etchings on dark glass? These riddles float in the cosmic dark, unanswered, untouched, like distant embers glowing at the edge of understanding. Let them pass by you like slow-moving clouds across a nighttime sky. Then, gently, we drift to the early universe, a place where the first stars were born. Stars so massive and brilliant that none exist today. Population 3 stars, ancient giants that forged the first heavy elements, seeding the cosmos with the ingredients for future worlds. But no one has ever seen one. They lived fast, died violently, and vanished long before galaxies took shape. Their absence is a quiet mystery, a forgotten song in the history of everything. Let that silence settle into your thoughts, easing them, soothing them. Somewhere beyond those stars, the first galaxies unfurled. But how they formed so quickly remains puzzling. The early universe was too young, too wild, too hot.
Yet massive galaxies appeared far sooner than our theories predicted. It's as if something nudged them into existence, something unseen, something we still don't understand. Let that gentle uncertainty cradle your mind. Let it invite your thoughts to dissolve into softness. In the vast dark, another enigma flickers, the formation of spiral arms in galaxies. Their elegant curves, their swirling brightness, their slow rotation, all remain partly unexplained. Why do these shapes persist? Why do they not unravel? Why do they hold their beauty for billions of years? Perhaps the universe simply loves symmetry. Perhaps it loves patterns. Perhaps it loves mystery. And as you breathe, let those spirals unwind slowly in your imagination, soft sweeping arms drawing you gently toward deeper rest. Now we move toward phenomena scattered across space like twinkling sparks. Fast radio bursts, bright but mysterious, flashing for milliseconds from unknown sources. Pulsars spinning with perfect precision, ticking like cosmic clocks. Magnetars, powerful and unpredictable, flaring with energies beyond comprehension. Each one flickers, whispers, fades. Each one exists without full explanation. Each one invites your mind to drift. Cosmic rays arrive from distant galaxies, carrying secrets of violent events we cannot see. Massive cosmic voids stretch between clusters of galaxies, vast quiet expanses almost entirely empty, as though the universe carved out pockets of stillness for reasons unknown. And somewhere beyond all this lies the question of the universe's fate. Will expansion continue forever, stretching everything into cold isolation? Will the cosmos slow and collapse into itself? Or will it drift into a quiet, eternal softness, a slow dimming of all stars, all galaxies, all motion? No one knows. And in that unknowing, your thoughts find calm, because the future of the universe moves at a pace far slower than sleep. Your breathing now is likely deeper, slower, your mind quieter, your body heavier. We are only beginning our long journey through 100 mysteries, yet already the night feels deeper, the calm more complete. You can rest inside these questions. You can drift through their softness. You can let them guide you toward sleep, gentle as moonlight.
The air around you feels a little warmer now, softer, almost like a gentle glow resting just above your skin. You might notice the faint weight of the blanket, the quiet hum of the night, the way your breath moves in slow, delicate waves. These small sensations, barely there, begin to wrap around you like a cocoon of stillness. And in that soft cocoon, we continue drifting deeper into the mysteries that lie beneath the stars. Tonight, our journey moves from the vast architecture of galaxies towards something more intimate, life itself. How it began, why it began, how it shaped the world, and, eventually, your own quiet presence here, breathing softly, listening, drifting. The shift is subtle, like the gentle turning of a page you barely hear, but the story it moves into is ancient, quiet, and filled with wonder. One of the most profound mysteries in all of science sits at the threshold between chemistry and biology. How did life begin? In warm ponds, in deep ocean vents, in ice, on mineral surfaces, or somewhere completely unexpected? No one knows. Scientists can replicate bits and pieces of the process, but the full transition from simple molecules to self-replicating life, the moment when inert matter stirred for the very first time, remains hidden, lost in time. It is like trying to remember a dream you had before you were born. As you breathe softly, imagine that moment, the very first flicker of something that wasn't quite alive, becoming alive. A gentle spark in the darkness of an ancient world. From that spark grows another question. Why did only certain molecules join this dance of life, while countless others remain silent? Out of all the shapes and structures nature could have chosen, it settled on just a few: amino acids, nucleotides, lipids. Why these? Why not others? It is as if life selected a small set of instruments from an enormous cosmic orchestra and composed the first quiet melody of existence. Let that thought drift through you like a faint breeze, soft and weightless. Some theories point to deep ocean vents, warm, mineral-rich cracks on the seafloor where energy and chemistry mingle. Others imagine shallow water warmed by ancient sunlight. Both hold beauty, both hold promise. But certainty remains out of reach, like a seashell lying just beneath shifting sand. Now your breath slows just a little more. From those early beginnings arises another timeless question. Were the first living things simple, or did complexity emerge suddenly? Some models suggest single molecules that could make crude copies of themselves. Others imagine networks of chemicals cooperating from the start. Either way, something subtle unfolded, something that allowed tiny systems to persist, adapt, and slowly sculpt the first tree of life. Your thoughts may begin to feel lighter now, drifting the way dust floats in a sunbeam. How did this boundary form? How did early structures manage to hold together, protecting the fragile chemistry within? No one fully knows. The earliest cell walls left no fossils, no traces, no clues, only silence. Imagine those first tiny bubbles of life drifting in the ancient ocean, fragile, glowing faintly in the darkness. From those cells came DNA, the molecule that carries the story of every organism on Earth. But why does DNA have its specific spiral form? Why this elegant double helix, winding gently like a staircase of light? Why this code of 4 letters when the universe could have written with 20, or 2, or none? The mystery is soft, like a lullaby humming in the background of existence. Now imagine life spreading, not just on Earth, but possibly elsewhere. Could alien life breathe methane instead of oxygen? Could it use ammonia as a solvent? Could its structures be based on silicon or something we have never seen? The possibilities drift like faint stars across the canvas of your thoughts. Your breathing is steady now. Your body feels a little heavier. The bed beneath you feels softer. We move gently into the enigma of viruses, creatures that are not quite alive, not quite dead. They cannot reproduce on their own, yet they evolve, adapt, persist. Were they ancient remnants of early life? Or did they arise later, fragments of genetic material escaping from cells? No answer is certain, and that uncertainty carries its own quiet calm. Let your eyes grow heavier. Then comes the question of intelligence. Life may form elsewhere, but will it think, feel, imagine? Will it dream under alien skies? Or will it follow paths utterly different from anything we know? The universe holds its secrets close. Now your thoughts may feel loose, untethered. Where does awareness come from? How does the brain weave sensations into experience? Why do some moments feel vivid, others dim? No theory explains it fully. No model captures it completely. And yet, here you are, aware of your breath, aware of the soft darkness, aware of the way sleep gently pulls at the edges of your mind. That awareness itself is a quiet miracle, one wrapped in layers of unanswered questions. Let them soothe you. We move to dreams, the strange theater your mind builds each night. Why do dreams form? What purpose do they serve? Why do some feel so vivid and others dissolve the moment you wake? Scientists propose ideas, but none settle into certainty. Now think of memory. How you recall the warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter, the face of someone you love. Memory is not a perfect archive. It changes, fades, reshapes itself. Why does the brain store some experiences deeply and others barely at all? No one knows. Let that soft unknowing carry you deeper. We drift into emotions, those invisible currents shaping your experience. Why does the mind feel joy? Why sadness? Why awe? Why fear? Why love? Each emotion emerges from biological processes, yet none can be reduced to simple equations.
Emotions move like tides, steady, powerful, unpredictable. And then comes creativity, the ability to imagine worlds that do not exist, to turn ideas into stories, dreams into art. Why does the brain do this? What evolutionary purpose does imagination serve? Let these gentle questions brush against you like soft wind. Now your breathing is slow, your body warm, your mind quiet. Time itself feels softer. We drift into the puzzle of déjà vu, the fleeting sensation of having lived a moment before. Is it a memory glitch, a timing overlap, a trick of the mind, or something deeper? The truth remains hidden. Then the placebo effect, how expectation alone can influence healing. The mind touches the body in ways science still cannot fully map. How does belief alter biology? Another gentle mystery. And finally, sleep itself, the quiet stage you hover near right now. Why do we sleep? Why do dreams shape its landscape? Why does consciousness dim only to rise again at dawn? Sleep remains partly unexplained, even as it cradles you each night. Feel yourself drifting. Feel the calm wrapping around you. Feel the mystery softening your thoughts like falling snow. Let your mind rest in the gentle unknown. Let your breath guide you deeper. Let sleep approach quietly. The night always has a certain softness to it, an almost invisible stillness that settles gently over everything like a thin layer of quiet dust. If you pay attention, truly pay attention, you can sense how the air changes after dark. The world becomes slower, calmer, more patient. Even the smallest sounds echo a little longer. And in that silence, if you close your eyes for just a moment, it feels as though the universe itself is breathing beside you, steady, ancient, and immeasurably vast. Tonight, as you settle into your pillow and let your body grow heavier, I want to invite you into that stillness. Imagine the darkness around you deepening, stretching, expanding, until suddenly it becomes the darkness of space itself. No noise, no burden, no rush. Only a soft, velvety emptiness that wraps around you like a warm blanket. And right there, suspended inside that quiet cosmic ocean, lies one of the most beautiful mysteries of our Milky Way, the birthplaces of stars, the hidden nurseries where light is crafted, shaped, and slowly awakened. I remember the first time I truly understood that stars are not just bright points in the sky, but living stories. I was younger, and the world felt much bigger than me. One evening, after a long day, I stepped outside and looked up. The sky was unusually clear, so clear that the Milky Way stretched faintly across the horizon like a quiet river of frozen light. I felt an odd sensation then, as if those tiny glowing dots weren't distant, unreachable things, but rather old companions watching silently from far away. That night planted a question in me. Where does a star begin? It turns out a star begins in darkness, not in brightness, not in heat, but in cold, dense, unseen darkness. Inside our galaxy, there are enormous clouds made of dust and gas.
Gravity, patient and persistent, gathers the cloud tighter and tighter. It's not a sudden collapse, nothing explosive or dramatic. It's a gentle, slow folding, like a blanket being pulled around a sleeping child. Over tens of thousands of years, the cloud becomes smaller, heavier, warmer. And at its center, a tiny spark forms. Not a bright spark yet, not even visible, but warm enough to whisper the promise of what's coming. That whisper becomes a murmur. The murmur becomes a pulse. The pulse becomes a soft, trembling glow. A star is beginning to breathe. When I picture that moment, I always imagine the feeling you get when you're on the edge of falling asleep, where your thoughts become warm, blurry shapes drifting gently across your mind. It's as though the universe itself is drifting in that same state, halfway between darkness and light, holding the fragile heartbeat of a new star in its cosmic arms. But the story doesn't end here. In fact, it's only beginning. As the gas continues to collapse, the center grows hotter. What was once a cold cloud becomes a spinning whirlpool of heated dust. The temperature rises, pressure builds. Two hydrogen atoms meet. They merge, they fuse, and in that instant, a burst of energy ignites. The star wakes up. It emits its first true breath of light, soft at first, then stronger, then radiant. A new sun is born. Think about that for a moment. Every single star you've ever seen, every spark in the night sky, every warm sunrise, every shimmering glow began this way, in darkness, in patience, in silence. Long before it burned brightly, it existed as a quiet, unseen possibility. And the Milky Way is full of these possibilities, full of star nurseries tucked between its spiraling arms like secret chambers, full of light waiting to awaken. As we drift further through our imaginary cloud, you begin to notice shapes forming around you, circles of dust swirling slowly like sleepy dancers. These rings will one day become planets. Some might be barren. Some may hold oceans. Some could even cradle the conditions needed for life. All of it begins in the same cradle where stars are born. The galaxy creates not just light, but worlds. There is something humbling about that, something soothing. The idea that creation is not a loud event. It's a quiet one, a slow one, a tender one. Just like healing, just like understanding, just like resting. Maybe that's why I love thinking about star formation at night. It reminds me that everything magnificent begins slowly. It grows in its own time. It doesn't rush, doesn't panic, doesn't compare itself to the star next to it. It simply gathers warmth until it is ready to shine. And perhaps in your own life, there are ideas, dreams, or moments forming in the same way, quietly, unseen, but full of potential, waiting for the right gravity, the right warmth, the right moment to ignite. So as you lie here, sinking deeper into your mattress, let this thought settle gently inside you. You too are made of the same elements that collapse into stars. You are built from ancient dust. You carry the same potential for light. And like a forming star, your glow doesn't need to rush. It will come in its own perfect time. Let the softness of this moment wrap around you. Let the quiet of the galaxy soothe your thoughts. And let the slow, patient birth of starlight guide you into rest, calm, warm, and unhurried. There are moments in the universe when silence becomes a kind of prophecy, a soft hint that something extraordinary is waiting just ahead. And as you drift deeper into tonight's quiet, we follow such a moment, one in which the Milky Way prepares to reveal one of its most elusive truths. You may not see it yet, not fully, but it's there. A subtle shift in the dark, a gentle pull, a sign that the galaxy is shaping itself in ways we can sense long before we truly understand them. As you breathe slowly, letting your body sink into the mattress, imagine yourself gliding through the dim, majestic spirals of our galaxy. Behind you, the star nurseries we visited earlier glow faintly like distant embers. Ahead, something darker waits, not frightening, but mysterious. Something that influences everything we see, yet remains invisible. Something that foreshadows every motion of every star. That something is dark matter. Its presence is woven through the Milky Way like an invisible skeleton, holding the galaxy together with silent arms. And tonight, wrapped in the calm rhythm of your own breathing, we drift toward understanding this ghostly structure, not by unraveling it completely, because no one can, but by resting gently inside its mystery. Dark matter is strange. It does not shine. It does not glow. It gives off no warmth, no shadow, no signal that our eyes or telescopes can directly detect. Yet it's everywhere. Imagine floating through a region of space that looks empty,
No dust, no gas, no shimmering clusters. But even in that apparent emptiness, dark matter holds you effortlessly in its gravitational cradle. You do not see it, but you feel the way the stars move around you, too fast to be held together by visible mass alone. Something else is binding them with patient, unseen arms. That unseen presence shapes the Milky Way like a potter's steady hands shaping clay. I remember the first time I learned how much of the universe is hidden. I was sitting alone with a quiet documentary playing on a dim laptop screen. The narrator spoke softly about how galaxies spin too quickly, how their outer stars should fly off like sparks from a wheel. Yet they don't. They stay. They cling. They orbit with impossible loyalty. And the reason? Something invisible is holding them in place. That idea settled into me like a slow, warm realization. The universe, vast as it is, has secret scaffolding, an invisible architecture shaping everything from galaxies to clusters to the cosmic web itself. As you drift through the galaxy now, imagine the Milky Way as a luminous flower, its bright arms spiraling gracefully. Around it, dark matter forms a vast spherical halo, far larger than the galaxy we can see. It stretches like a protective cocoon, quiet but powerful, shaping every motion inside it. Inside this halo, you float weightlessly. There is no wind, no sound, only the faint hum of distant stars, a soft vibration that feels more like a memory than a noise. The beauty of dark matter is not in what it shows, but in what it allows. It allows galaxies to form. It allows stars to cluster. It allows the universe to weave itself into structure. Without it, everything would drift apart. Light would scatter like dust. The cosmos would remain a thin, quiet mist. Instead, dark matter's embrace gives shape to the universe, gently, quietly, and without ever revealing itself. As you glide deeper through the halo, another thought settles in. We don't know what dark matter is. We have theories, WIMPs, axions, sterile neutrinos, but none confirmed. It could be particles, it could be fields, it could be something stranger than we have language for. And yet, it holds everything together. There is something soothing about that, something comforting in the idea that the universe rests on mysteries it does not rush to explain. Perhaps we are meant to feel that same patience. Sometimes parts of our own lives remain invisible to us. Quiet motivations, forgotten memories, small unseen forces guiding our choices. We don't always understand them, but they shape us. They hold us together. They give structure to our inner world. Just like dark matter shapes the stars. As you drift further, picture yourself approaching the luminous disk of the Milky Way. The stars whirl around you like gentle fireflies. Their motions, swirling and elegant, trace invisible pathways carved by dark matter's gravity. Every orbit is a quiet acknowledgement of an unseen guide. Every star, a witness to an invisible presence. In the outer regions of the galaxy, where starlight grows thin, dark matter becomes even more important. The stars here move fast, far faster than gravity from the visible galaxy can support. They behave as though someone is holding their hands, guiding them in a stable dance. And that someone is the unseen mass cocooning them. You float between these far-flung stars, feeling the calm emptiness of space stretching endlessly in all directions. There is a timelessness here, a weightless serenity that reminds you of that quiet moment just before sleep, when thoughts fade and everything feels suspended. What if dark matter is the universe's version of that moment? Something soft, silent, unspoken, holding everything gently without needing to be seen. As this thought settles into you, imagine watching the Milky Way from a great distance. Visible stars form the bright spiraling pattern we know so well, but around it is the vast, ghostly halo. It extends far beyond the light, like a protective cocoon, quiet but powerful, shaping every motion inside it. Inside this halo, you float weightlessly. There is no wind, no sound, only the faint hum of distant stars, a soft vibration that feels more like a memory than a noise. The beauty of dark matter is not in what it shows, but in what it allows. It allows galaxies to form. It allows stars to cluster. It allows the universe to weave itself into structure. Without it, everything would drift apart. Light would scatter like dust. The cosmos would remain a thin, quiet mist. Instead, dark matter's embrace gives shape to the universe, gently, quietly, and without ever revealing itself. As you glide deeper through the halo, another thought settles in. We don't know what dark matter is. We have theories, WIMPs, axions, sterile neutrinos, but none confirmed. It could be particles, it could be fields, it could be something stranger than we have language for. And yet, it holds everything together. There is something soothing about that, something comforting in the idea that the universe rests on mysteries it does not rush to explain. Perhaps we are meant to feel that same patience. Sometimes parts of our own lives remain invisible to us. Quiet motivations, forgotten memories, small unseen forces guiding our choices. We don't always understand them, but they shape us. They hold us together. They give structure to our inner world. Just like dark matter shapes the stars. As you drift further, picture yourself approaching the luminous disk of the Milky Way. The stars whirl around you like gentle fireflies. Their motions, swirling and elegant, trace invisible pathways carved by dark matter's gravity. Every orbit is a quiet acknowledgement of an unseen guide. Every star, a witness to an invisible presence. In the outer regions of the galaxy, where starlight grows thin, dark matter becomes even more important. The stars here move fast, far faster than gravity from the visible galaxy can support. They behave as though someone is holding their hands, guiding them in a stable dance. And that someone is the unseen mass cocooning them. You float between these far-flung stars, feeling the calm emptiness of space stretching endlessly in all directions. There is a timelessness here, a weightless serenity that reminds you of that quiet moment just before sleep, when thoughts fade and everything feels suspended. What if dark matter is the universe's version of that moment? Something soft, silent, unspoken, holding everything gently without needing to be seen. As this thought settles into you, imagine watching the Milky Way from a great distance. Visible stars form the bright spiraling pattern we know so well, but around it is the vast, ghostly halo. It extends far beyond the light, like a protective shell. A reminder that most of the universe, most of existence itself, is hidden, quiet, and profoundly mysterious. And that's the heart of tonight's meditation. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved immediately. Some are meant to soothe us, not challenge us. Some shape us quietly, like gravity working in the dark. As you breathe deeply, let the presence of dark matter become a metaphor for the unseen supports in your life. The quiet stability, the unspoken comfort, the invisible threads that keep you grounded. You don't need to see them for them to be real. You only need to trust the way they hold everything together. Let that thought drift gently into your mind.
Dark energy is the universe's version of that. A gentle reminder that growth does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Imagine now passing through the cosmic web, those filaments of galaxies stretched across the universe like glowing threads. Between them lie enormous voids, empty regions where dark energy dominates completely. These voids expand faster than the dense regions, growing like vast, silent lungs. You drift through one of these voids now, surrounded by almost nothing. The silence here is perfect, so pure that even your thoughts seem to soften. It's a place where expansion feels more like a slow unfurling, a cosmic sigh stretching across unimaginable distances. And perhaps there is beauty in that emptiness. Not a cold or frightening emptiness, but a restful one. A spaciousness that invites the mind to loosen its grip. As you move through the void, a distant galaxy appears like a single candle flame on the horizon. Its light is stretched, red-shifted, stretched by the expanding space between you and it. This stretching is the universe's quiet message, whispered across billions of years. Everything is moving apart, yet everything remains connected through the story of its shared origin. The more you drift, the more you feel the peaceful inevitability of this expansion. Nothing resists, nothing struggles. The universe simply follows its own quiet momentum. And in that smooth, unstoppable flow, there is a kind of cosmic calmness. Dark energy will shape the universe's fate, but tonight it simply shapes your rest. Let your breath follow its rhythm, slow, steady, expanding gently with each inhale, softening with each exhale. Feel the spaciousness around you, inside you, like the universe itself widening with every moment. The stars in the distance shimmer faintly, their light softened by the stretching of space. They are reminders of how delicate everything is, how even light can be pulled and transformed by the universe's vast, invisible hands. You drift deeper into the quiet. You drift deeper into the mystery. And the mystery drifts gently around you. Dark energy might be the most elusive force we know. It might be the driver of the universe's infinite expansion. Or it might be something entirely different, something beyond our equations, beyond our current imagination. But for now, it is enough to rest inside the wonder of it, to feel yourself suspended in a calm, expanding cosmos, held softly by forces unseen but undeniably present. Let that feeling carry you deeper. Let it settle your thoughts. Let it widen your sense of stillness. The universe expands. Your breath softens. And in the silent space between both, you drift gently toward sleep. You find yourself already drifting through a quiet, distant region of the universe, far from the bright, familiar arms of the Milky Way. No beginning, no announcement, no warning. Just the soft realization that you are already here, suspended in the serene dark. A faint glow rests along the edge of your vision, like the last trace of twilight, and a hush settles over everything. Before you even have time to ask how you arrived, something gently draws your attention, a question that has followed humanity for centuries. Is the universe infinite? You float into this question as though it were a warm current carrying you deeper into thought. Out here, where the stars grow sparse and the silence grows vast, the idea feels less like a puzzle and more like a soft cosmic cradle. Infinity becomes not a terrifying abyss, but a slow, soothing drift, one that calms your breathing as you glide along the outer reaches of creation. Some say the universe might curve like the surface of a sphere, looping back on itself in a gentle embrace. Others imagine it flat, stretching endlessly like a quiet, star-dusted plain. Some believe it might even be open and ever-expanding, growing larger without limit as dark energy pulls everything outward. And the truth? We simply don't know. The unknown here is gentle, not threatening, a pillow for the mind to rest upon. As you drift, the faint glow around you begins to shimmer, revealing something vast and soft-edged, the cosmic horizon. It isn't a wall or a boundary, only the limit of what we can see. Beyond it lies a region forever hidden from us, expanding faster than light can reach. A peaceful reminder that mystery surrounds us on every side, not as a barrier, but as a blanket. I remember the first time I learned about the unobservable universe. I was sitting in a dim library, the pages of a cosmology book spread open under a small lamp. The words felt heavier than usual, quiet, contemplative, like they were inviting me to look up at the ceiling and imagine what lay beyond the edges of the known. That same quiet lands on you now, soft as starlight. Imagine the universe as a vast ocean. Our observable region is merely a small island,
illuminated, mapped, familiar. But beyond the horizon lies the endless sea. You glide toward that distant horizon now. The stars thin out. The dark becomes deeper. Space itself feels like a soft, velvety expanse surrounding you. And as you drift farther from the familiar, you begin to sense something subtle beneath everything. The fine-tuning of the universe. The physical constants, the strength of gravity, the charge of the electron, the speed of light, feel like the delicate strings of a cosmic instrument, tuned with impossible precision. A tiny adjustment in any one of them, even by the smallest fraction, and the universe as we know it would collapse into silence. No stars, no galaxies, no chemistry, no life, only stillness. Yet here you float, surrounded by a universe balanced on a razor's edge, as if tuned for complexity or for wonder. There's no need to reach conclusions. The comfort lies in simply drifting through the possibility. You move deeper through the cosmic quiet, and the dark reveals a new idea, one whispered often in scientific halls and late-night conversations: the multiverse. Not in a dramatic or fantastical sense, but as a gentle conceptual horizon. Perhaps our universe is one bubble in a vast cosmic foam. Perhaps there are endless others, some expanding, some collapsing, some with physical laws so different they could never support stars or life. And maybe, in one of those countless realms, another version of you drifts through another quiet night, contemplating their own infinity. The thought doesn't overwhelm you, it soothes you. Infinity, multiverses, hidden realms, these become soft pillows for the imagination, not heavy burdens. The universe is vast, yes, but its vastness cradles you rather than swallows you. As you drift through ideas like threads of soft light, you slip into a region almost entirely empty, far beyond the clusters and filaments we know. Here, space feels like a whisper. The silence is deep but peaceful. And within that stillness, another unsolved wonder appears: the shape of the universe. Is it curved like a gentle bowl? Flat like a stretched sheet? Twisted in dimensions we can't perceive? Or subtly warped by forces we haven't discovered yet? You imagine space bending softly under your fingertips, flexible and quiet. Geometry becomes a lullaby, not a riddle. You don't need to solve anything. Just float within the possibility that the universe might be simpler or stranger than our minds can grasp. The air around you feels warmer now, more familiar. A memory rises, standing outside on a cool evening, gazing at a crescent moon. You didn't know then whether the universe curved inward or stretched outward forever. You just felt small in a comforting way, like being wrapped in a vast, gentle presence. That same feeling surrounds you again tonight. Now you glide along the cosmic background radiation, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang. It washes over you like a warm breeze, carrying the soft echo of the universe's earliest moments. This glow is uniform, smooth, except for tiny ripples. Those ripples shaped everything we see today, and yet we still don't fully know why they exist. As the faint cosmic warmth fades behind you, a final question of this region appears, gentle and unhurried. Is the universe finite or infinite? You don't answer. You don't have to. You simply let the question settle, like a feather landing softly on still water. The answer is not needed for rest. The mystery itself becomes the lullaby. The possibility becomes the quiet that guides you deeper into relaxation. You are drifting now between infinity and finiteness, between observable and unobservable, between precision and possibility. As your breaths grow slower, the universe around you expands softly, just enough to cradle your thoughts in a vast, serene silence. Let yourself sink into that silence. Let the idea of endlessness become a comfort. Let the softness of cosmic mystery close gently around you. The universe may be finite, it may be infinite, but tonight it is simply peaceful. And you is floating at its edge, wrapped in the quiet wonder of what lies just beyond. Sometimes when I was younger, I would sit on the roof of our old house during winter nights, wrapped in a thin blanket, pretending that the cold didn't bother me. Above me, the sky would shimmer in shades of quiet blue and silent silver, and I would imagine that every star was gently breathing. I didn't know the science then, of course. I simply felt like the universe was alive, like each star exhaled some invisible wind that carried stories across the empty dark. Years later, when I learned about stellar winds, it felt like the universe had finally revealed the explanation behind that childhood feeling. I wasn't wrong after all. Stars do breathe. They exhale. They release streams of particles, energy, and magnetic whispers that travel light years away. They shape galaxies, sculpt cosmic dust, and even influence the birth of new stars. And tonight, as you settle deeper into the comfort of your pillow, we will explore this gentle, hidden architecture, this quiet breath of the cosmos that drifts through the Milky Way like a slow cosmic breeze. Take a long breath with me, slow and steady, and let your mind float outward, as if your thoughts are lifting into that very wind. If you could drift close to a star, slowly, peacefully, without heat or danger, you would feel a continuous flow of charged particles drifting outward. These streams, called stellar winds, are always present. Even our sun constantly releases its own wind, shaping the space around our solar system. But the stars in the Milky Way breathe in different rhythms. Massive stars release fierce, fast winds that rush across space at thousands of kilometers per second. Smaller, older stars breathe more quietly, letting out a thin, slow flow like a whisper. And then there are the newborn stars, those still wrapped in cocoons of dust, exhaling in powerful bursts, as if they haven't yet learned how to breathe gently. Yet no matter the type, every stellar wind carries significance. It influences magnetic fields, it sculpts nebulae, it alters the conditions for planets, moons, and interstellar space. These winds are not chaotic. They are part of a vast and delicate architecture, one that shapes the structure of the Milky Way itself. Sometimes when I'm overwhelmed by life, I imagine the entire galaxy breathing, each star inhaling silently, each star exhaling softly, and every breath contributing to the grand design that we're still trying to understand. Picture a giant cloud of gas, cold, dark, and drifting through space. It has no shape, no direction, just a slow, timeless existence. Now place a bright young star at its center. The star begins to exhale, slowly at first, then stronger. Its wind pushes outward, clearing cavities in the cloud. Over millions of years, these winds carve intricate shapes, bubbles, shells, and hollow chambers, like a cosmic artist shaping clay. Astronomers have found entire interstellar bubbles created this way. Some bubbles overlap.
In regions with many massive stars, like the Orion Nebula or the Carina Nebula, the winds from these giants collide. They generate shock waves, they compress clouds, and this compression can trigger new stars to form. So a star's wind can indirectly give birth to entire clusters. But winds can also strip planets of their atmospheres. They can tear apart fragile clouds that might have otherwise formed stars. They can stop formation in some areas while triggering it in others. It's a cosmic balance, one that mirrors life in a profound way. Sometimes pressure crushes us. Other times it transforms us. Sometimes something powerful sweeps into our life, stripping away the old. And sometimes that same force creates space for something new. In the Milky Way, this balance is everywhere. Creation wrapped inside destruction. Growth hidden inside collapse. A billion quiet winds moving in all directions, writing the galaxy story. Imagine, just for a moment, a single charged particle leaving the surface of a star. Maybe it started as part of a hydrogen atom deep inside the star's core. It spent millions of years bouncing around, caught in nuclear reactions, trapped in magnetic fields, pushed and pulled by unimaginable forces. And then, one day, it escapes. It becomes a part of the star's wind. It drifts into space, slowly at first, then faster.
It passes through planets, dust, asteroids, and magnetic waves. It travels across empty regions so vast that human imagination barely touches the scale. Some particles eventually reach other stars. Some join interstellar clouds, contributing material for future generations of stars and planets. And some, very few, reach the edges of the galaxy. When I think about that tiny particle drifting through the void, I'm reminded of how every journey, no matter how small, becomes part of something larger. Even we, in our quiet night routines, contribute small steps that shape the world around us. There's a memory I revisit often. A night during winter when electricity was out and our house was quiet. My parents had stepped outside and I followed them. The sky was astonishing, clearer than I had ever seen it. My father pointed to a bright star and said, "Everything up there is moving." At that moment, I had no idea how true that was. The stars were breathing. Their winds were flowing. Entire regions of the galaxy were shifting, sculpting, expanding, collapsing, all silently, without any sound reaching us. Today, when I read scientific papers about stellar winds and galactic bubbles, I still hear his voice. Everything is moving. Every star, every cloud, every particle, even us, drifting through the local bubble carved by stars that lived and died long before humans existed. It's strange and comforting at the same time, knowing we are part of an ancient movement. As you relax deeper into this moment, imagine yourself floating gently above the galactic plane. The stars around you breathe softly. Their winds drift past like warm, glowing fog. Entire nebulae expand and contract in slow motion. The Milky Way stretches below you like a shining river of light. And in this stillness, the stellar winds feel almost like a lullaby, an ancient rhythm that began billions of years before you were born and will continue long after. Let that image settle inside you. Feel the calm. Feel the slowness. Feel the soft cosmic breeze drifting across the galaxy. And now, when you close your eyes, imagine yourself floating in that breeze, weightless, peaceful, timeless, carried gently across the Milky Way by the soft breath of stars. Sometimes the mind feels like a quiet library at night, rows of shelves stretching into the dimness, filled with stories you've lived and stories you've forgotten, each memory resting like a dust-softened book. Tonight, I invite you to step softly through that library with me, letting your fingertips trail across the spines of thoughts as we drift deeper into the mysteries of consciousness. No rush, no urgency, only the gentle echo of curiosity guiding us from one quiet corner to the next. As you relax, you may notice how your awareness shifts, like the slow turning of pages. One moment, you're rooted in the present, sensing the warmth around you, and the next, you're sliding into a memory, or into the echo of an emotion, or into the soft haze where imagination and reality touch. Scientists still struggle to explain why this happens. How does the brain, a dense sponge of cells and electrical pulses, create something as delicate and intricate as your inner world? Why does a simple scent awaken entire landscapes of recollection? Why does a faint sound pull a forgotten feeling to the surface? Even the simplest questions open endless corridors. Sometimes I wonder about dreams, the strange, drifting theaters that light up behind our eyelids. They never follow the rules of daylight. They mix places, faces, and timelines without asking permission. You can walk through a childhood street and suddenly find yourself floating in a galaxy you've never seen. You can speak to someone who's an echo. You can fly without wings. And then you wake up and realize the whole universe you visited existed only for a moment. The brain creates these dream worlds with effortless creativity, yet we still don't fully understand why. Are dreams a form of emotional housekeeping? Are they survival rehearsals? Are they messages from deeper layers of the mind? Or are they simply the natural poetry of a resting brain? Consciousness itself remains one of humanity's most stubborn mysteries. We know how neurons fire. We know how neurotransmitters move. We know how signals travel. But nowhere in that mechanical chain does the spark of awareness appear. It's as if consciousness is an invisible lake beneath the surface, supporting everything, but impossible to touch directly. Some theories say consciousness arises from networks of complexity. Others say the brain broadcasts a sort of internal narrative. Some scientists even propose that consciousness might be a fundamental property of the universe, like space, like time, like energy. And while we do not yet know which idea comes closer to truth, they all share a certain softness, a willingness to admit that we do not understand ourselves as deeply as we wish to. Have you ever noticed how thoughts appear without effort? You're resting, breathing slowly, and suddenly an image drifts in, or a memory, or a question, or the face of someone you haven't spoken to in years. The brain is not a silent machine. It is a constant storyteller, weaving meaning from fragments. Even now, as you listen, your mind is shaping these words into something personal, something only you can experience. That private interpretation, that inner glow of meaning, is something science cannot measure. We can observe brain waves, but not the essence of a thought. We can track neural patterns, but not the feeling of remembering a moment you loved. Another puzzle rests in the way we sense time. When you're relaxed, like you are now, minutes feel like they're melting. They stretch, they loosen, they become fluid. But when you're anxious, time tightens. It becomes sharp, fast, insistent. Why does the brain distort time so easily? Why does a moment of joy pass quickly while a moment of discomfort feels long? Researchers believe time perception may be tied to attention, or emotional intensity, or neurological rhythms, and yet no theory fully explains the elasticity of lived time. The clock measures seconds, but the mind measures moments. Memory is another wonder, fragile yet powerful. You may think of memory as a recording, but science shows it is more like a reconstruction. Each time you remember something, you are rebuilding it, reshaping it slightly, polishing certain edges while blurring others. Memory is a living thing. It breathes, it changes. Why does the mind preserve some memories with crystal clarity while others fade into fog? Why do certain experiences leave such deep impressions? Why do some emotions attach themselves to moments we didn't expect to remember at all? These are not simple questions. They are the gentle riddles of being human. And then there is emotion itself, the deep currents beneath the surface. Joy, sorrow, anticipation, calm. Each one has a texture, a tone, a rhythm. Emotions guide us even when we don't notice. They help us connect, protect, imagine, decide. But where exactly do they live? Which part of the brain holds the warmth of affection, or the ache of nostalgia, or the quiet glow of comfort? Scientists can map regions associated with emotion, but the feeling itself is not something that can be graphed. It is something you live. It flows through you like wind through tall grass, present, real, yet impossible to hold. Creativity is another whispering mystery. Why does the mind spark ideas when it's relaxed? Why do insights often appear when you're drifting toward sleep? Perhaps creativity is the mind's natural state when pressure is removed, when thoughts can wander freely without boundaries. Just like right now, as we drift through these mysteries together, letting imagination and awareness blend into something softer than understanding. And somewhere inside all these wonders, dreams, memory, consciousness, emotion, there is a quiet question. What makes you you? Is it your memories, your choices, your experiences, or something deeper, something unnamed? Science explores the brain, but the self remains elusive. You are a constellation of countless moments held together by a thread only you can feel. And that thread remains one of the most beautiful mysteries of all. For now, let your mind settle. Let the quietness gather around you. The mysteries of the human mind are not meant to be solved tonight. They are meant to soothe you, like the soft turning of pages in that nighttime library, gently, slowly, peacefully. You might notice, as you settle a little deeper into your pillow, the faint sensation of air brushing across your skin, almost like a quiet feather drifting downward. That subtle, nearly unnoticeable touch is enough to remind you that your body is always listening, even when your mind begins to wander. And tonight, as we move from the mysteries of consciousness into the equally gentle puzzles of life beyond our own species, we let that soft sensory moment guide us, light, delicate, unhurried, toward new wonder. Animals in all their forms carry secrets that seem almost magical. And perhaps the most soothing part of these mysteries is how silently they exist, woven into nature with no need for explanation. Consider regeneration, one of the quiet marvels of the living world. Some creatures can regrow lost limbs, repair damaged organs, even rebuild complex tissues with a calm efficiency we still don't understand. How does a salamander know how to recreate what was lost? How does it remember its own body's blueprint? Inside that tiny being is a symphony of signals, guiding cells to become exactly what they need to be, and science has only begun to glimpse its score. Then there are animals who seem to pause time itself. Tardigrades, tiny gentle wanderers, can slip into a state called cryptobiosis, where their body nearly stops functioning. They can survive freezing, drying, radiation, vacuum, pressure, places where almost nothing else can. To enter this state, they fold themselves inward, drifting into a stillness that borders on the unimaginable. Why can they do this when other creatures cannot? What ancient key do they carry that we have lost? No one knows. It is simply one more lullaby hidden in the living world. Other creatures stretch time in different ways. Some jellyfish appear able to reset their life cycle, aging backward, returning to earlier stages of development as if death is merely a suggestion. We don't know why this ability evolved or how it works at the deepest biological level, but the idea that age might not be a fixed path, that is a whisper of comfort. Longevity takes many shapes. The bowhead whale glides through Arctic waters for 2 centuries or more, carrying memories no human could ever hold. Its cells resist cancer in ways ours do. Its body heals without fear. Its lifespan stretches like a long, cold horizon. Why their cells remain so calm, so resilient, remains unanswered. Somewhere inside their enormous hearts is a biological poetry we have yet to read. And then there is the navigation of birds. Every year, without maps or machines, migratory birds travel thousands of kilometers, tracing ancient paths across continents and oceans. Some fly at night, steering by stars. Others sense magnetic fields, as if the Earth's core hums a quiet melody they alone can hear. Scientists call it magneto.
We can drift now into the quiet marvel of octopuses. Their intelligence is unlike ours, not centered, not singular. It is distributed, scattered through their limbs, each arm holding a degree of independent thought. How does a creature with such an unusual brain experience the world? Do their thoughts ripple like waves through water? Do they feel emotions, curiosity, comfort? No one truly knows. Yet when an octopus examines something gently with its many limbs, there is an elegance to its motion, a calm, flowing grace that suggests more than instinct. Some animals carry mysteries of communication. Whales sing in deep, echoing tones that vibrate across thousands of miles. What stories are they sharing? Are they songs of migration, of memory, of longing? We can record the sounds, but we cannot understand the meaning. Imagine the ocean as a vast cathedral, whales creating slow, resonant hymns beneath endless blue, each note drifting through darkness like a lantern. Science listens, but the message remains peaceful, distant, unknown. Even the simplest creatures hold quiet mysteries. Fireflies flash in synchronized waves, entire forests blinking in perfect timing. Why do they coordinate? What invisible rhythm governs their glow? It feels like nature breathing in unison, a gentle heartbeat under the summer sky. And in the shadowed world of the deep ocean, strange beings drift with bioluminescent light, glowing softly like distant stars. Their lights pulse in patterns we do not understand. Signals, warnings, invitations, illusions. The deep sea is perhaps the Earth's greatest reservoir of still hidden life. Thousands of species remain unknown, drifting in darkness so complete that even time feels slower there. The deep ocean holds secrets like a cradle holds a sleeping child, quietly, protectively. Even land animals offer puzzles that seem small but enchanting. Cats purr, and the frequency of their purring has healing properties, stimulating bone growth, reducing stress, calming the body. Why would an animal evolve a vibration that heals itself and others? What quiet purpose lies in that gentle sound? We can measure the hertz, but not the meaning. And elephants, creatures of memory and mourning, they grieve, they remember, they return to places where loved ones once walked. How does memory feel inside a mind so different from ours? What does loss feel like to a being so large, so calm? Their emotional world moves like a slow river, deep, patient, full of currents we cannot see. Even insects hold mysteries. Monarch butterflies migrate across generations. A butterfly born this year may travel a path its ancestors began decades ago. How do they inherit directions? How do they know where to go when they have never been there before? Nature hums with questions. Life hums with questions. And here, in this calm moment, you can simply drift with them, letting each one float past like a leaf on a quiet stream. No need to solve, no need to grasp, just breathe and let wonder move gently through you. You find yourself, without quite knowing how you arrived, standing in the middle of a vast, ancient landscape, one where the sky is tinted gold and the air feels thick with echoes of human footsteps. There is no beginning to this scene, no introduction. You are simply inside it, as though memory itself opened a quiet door. Around you, faint voices drift like distant wind, carrying fragments of stories told by people long gone. And as you breathe slowly, you begin to realize you are listening not to individuals, but to the collective pulse of humanity. A tapestry of behaviors, customs, feelings, and mysteries that have shaped our species far longer than any written record. This is where we gently slide into the soft enigmas of human culture. Not the turbulent, noisy parts, but the subtle ones. The instincts and rituals that rise from some deep interior well and flow through every society, every era, every language. Take language itself. You speak, you listen, you understand, and yet no one fully knows how language began. What was the first sentence ever spoken? The first symbol, the first shared meaning? Somewhere in our ancient past, a moment occurred when sound transformed into intention, when breath turned into communication. That leap from silence to speech is still one of the deepest mysteries of our species. Why did humans develop such complex tongues while other animals did not? How did grammar, syntax, metaphor, storytelling emerge? No one can say. We carry the answers inside us every time we speak, but the origin remains out of reach. From language springs laughter, another puzzle wrapped in simplicity. You laugh when you are amused, relieved, surprised, or even anxious. But why do humans expel air in bursts to express emotion? Why is laughter contagious? Its sound has no obvious survival function, and yet it binds people closer than almost anything else. Picture for a moment two ancient humans sitting beside a fire. Something shifts, a gesture, a word, a shared glance, and suddenly both erupt into laughter. In that moment, trust deepens, fear melts, the world feels lighter. And still, science cannot fully explain what laughter is at its core, only that it remains soothing, grounding, and universal. Parallel to laughter is music, an exquisite mystery wrapped in vibration. No other species creates melodies with such purpose, such emotion, such complexity. And yet music serves no direct survival function. It lifts, comforts, energizes, and calms. Why does a slow rhythm make your breathing soften? Why does a certain chord feel like home? Why can a melody from childhood reappear decades later, carrying memory like a gentle lantern? No one truly knows. Music appears to be woven into the deepest layers of memory and emotion, as though the mind itself hums quietly even in silence. And then there is love, soft, confusing, overwhelming, grounding love. Humans form bonds that last through hardship, through distance, through time. Why? Many animals bond temporarily. Many choose partners. But human love, romantic, familial, platonic, carries an intensity unique to our species. It shapes literature, art, daily decisions, entire civilizations. What is the mechanism behind attachment? How does affection root itself so deeply in the brain? What quiet biological poetry allows two individuals to share meaning across decades? We understand pieces, chemicals, hormones, memory, but not the full tapestry. Love remains one of humanity's oldest and most comforting mysteries. Tears add another layer, emotional tears specifically, because humans are the only creatures known to cry from feeling rather than irritation. What is the purpose of tears when the heart aches or overflows? How did this strange reflex evolve? Why does releasing tears bring relief? Some suggest it signals vulnerability. Others think it stabilizes emotional states. But the deeper truth remains unknown. Tears slip quietly down the face, warm and soft, carrying feelings no words can describe. They are small, shining mysteries of the human soul. Culture also births myths, stories people pass down through generations to make sense of the unknown. Every culture has them, tales of origins, of heroes, of spirits, of fate. Why do humans create myths? Perhaps because the mind seeks patterns even in the dark. Perhaps because stories sustain us. Maybe because myths form bridges between people, binding communities with shared meaning. Despite centuries of study, we still do not fully grasp why humans need stories, why narrative is as essential as food or shelter. But you can feel it even now as this soft tale unfolds around you. Storytelling is simply part of being human. Altruism stands quietly beside all of this, a gentle, puzzling impulse. Why do humans help strangers? Why do they sacrifice comfort for someone they may never meet again? Evolutionists puzzle over it, neuroscientists map it, philosophers debate it, and yet the truth remains unsolved. Something deep inside us reaches outward, offering care without expectation. It is one of the most tender mysteries of human nature. Civilizations rise and fall, each carrying its own enigmas. What drives the growth of societies? What sparks innovation? What causes decline? Patterns exist, but no single rule explains every collapse or every golden age. Human history moves like a tide, advancing, retreating, reshaping. The factors remain beautifully entangled: climate, ideas, leadership, conflict, creativity. Even now, the forces shaping our world drift through unknown territories. Among all these mysteries, one stands especially soft and universal: curiosity. Why do humans seek to understand? Why do you feel a gentle pull toward the unknown? Even in childhood, curiosity sparks exploration. It is the engine of science, the seed of imagination, the quiet rhythm behind every question you've ever asked. Where does it come from? What is its purpose? Why is the mind drawn to wonder as naturally as lungs to air? No one knows. Yet curiosity glows within you even now,
guiding you through this gentle descent. And finally, there is the oldest companionship of all, storytelling. Humans have always told stories around fires, across oceans, through books, through whispered memories passed from one heart to another. Why do stories soothe us? Why do they help us sleep? Perhaps because stories mimic the drifting pattern of the mind at rest. They give shape to chaos. They soften the day's sharp edges. They create a quiet space where the unknown becomes comforting rather than frightening. As you breathe slowly here, wrapped in these ancient human mysteries, you may feel a subtle warmth, like a small fire glowing somewhere deep inside. A reminder that you are part of a lineage stretching across millennia, that every question you hold has been held before, and that mystery itself, especially the mysteries of human nature, has always been a gentle cradle for the wandering mind. So allow yourself to drift with these thoughts. Let them settle lightly. Let them soften your awareness. Each unanswered question is just another reassurance that the world is bigger, kinder, and more intricate than we can fully understand. And that, in its own way, is a comfort. There is a moment just before a landscape reveals itself, when everything feels suspended, when the air holds a certain quiet weight and the horizon blurs into something soft and undefined. Imagine yourself standing in such a moment now, somewhere on a lonely plateau where the wind hums low and steady, and the sky stretches outward like a deep, endless canvas. Beneath your feet, the earth is cool and ancient. Around you, the world feels solid yet mysterious, grounded yet filled with questions we still can't answer. This is the perfect threshold from which to begin drifting into the puzzles of our own planet. The quiet enigmas hiding beneath soil, storms, oceans, and stone. Earth has always carried its mysteries not with drama, but with patience. Consider ball lightning, a glowing sphere sometimes drifting silently through stormy air. People describe it as a floating orb, sometimes bright, sometimes faint, appearing for seconds before dissolving into nothing. Scientists have theories, of course: plasma, vaporized silicon, electromagnetic effects, but none fully explain the phenomenon. What makes these luminous spheres appear? Why do they move with that slow, ghost-like calm? No one knows. And like many natural mysteries, ball lightning seems content to remain elusive, visiting rarely, leaving quietly. Then there are earthquake lights, brief flashes or colors in the sky reported before or during seismic activity. Some describe them as blue flames. Others see shimmering curtains like faint auroras. The earth, shifting deep beneath the crust, sends signals upward that we cannot yet decode. Are these electrical discharges, stress responses in the rocks, some interplay of ionized air and ground pressure? The true cause drifts beyond certainty. All we know is that sometimes, before the earth trembles,
What unique combination of water, heat flow, internal chemistry, and crustal behavior allowed our world to fracture and move in this elegant dance? Without tectonics, life as we know it might never have formed. And yet the mechanism that sparked it, the first crack, the first movement, remains shrouded in uncertainty. Follow the mystery deeper into the oceans. Earth's water is perhaps one of the oldest puzzles we still contemplate. Did it arrive on comets? Was it born from volcanic outgassing? Did it descend from minerals locked in the mantle? Or was it some combination of all these sources? Water covers most of our world, shaping climate, life, and landscape. Yet its origin refuses to settle into one neat explanation. Every droplet carries a small fragment of cosmic history, but the full story remains unraveled. Far above, the moon also carries shadows of unanswered questions. Its far side, always hidden, always turned away, was a source of speculation for centuries. Why is that side so different from the near side? Why thicker crust? Why fewer Maria, fewer volcanic plains? Even now, studies suggest asymmetrical heat flow and ancient impacts, but none offer a complete explanation. The moon keeps part of itself quiet. Even as spacecraft map it carefully, its history hums with unknowns. Earth's magnetic field is another gentle guardian we barely understand. It shields us from cosmic radiation, guides animals, influences the upper atmosphere. But why does it flip polarity at irregular intervals? What precise mechanism deep in the molten core drives the magnetic dynamo? How long will the field remain stable? Models simulate possibilities, but the heart of Earth's magnetism remains a softly glowing question, its workings as hidden as the core itself. Ice ages also sweep through history with a rhythm we struggle to map. Why does the planet cycle between warm periods and frozen eras? Orbital wobbles explain part of the pattern, but not everything. Sometimes ice advances when it shouldn't. Sometimes it retreats without obvious cause. The climate system is a subtle interplay of oceans, atmosphere, volcanic activity, and solar variations. And within that interplay lie mysteries that continue to drift just beyond our full understanding. Mass extinctions echo across time in their own solemn way. We know the events, the asteroid that ended the age of dinosaurs, the volcanic breath that shaped earlier eras. But many extinction pulses remain unaccounted for. Why did some species vanish while others thrived? What threads connect survival and collapse? Biodiversity rises and falls like a tide, guided by unseen forces. And the deeper we dig into ancient layers, the more silent questions we uncover. Now turn your attention outward toward other planets. Saturn's rings, beautiful, delicate, shimmering, are younger than expected. Some evidence suggests they may be only a few 100 million years old. Why did they form so recently? What event created their icy reflective arcs? Their perfection hides a story not yet known. Uranus tilts dramatically, rolling through space on its side. Was it struck by a massive object long ago? Did internal shifts reorient it? Or was its tilt born in the earliest chaotic days of the solar system? The reason remains quiet. Venus spins backward, retrograde, rotating opposite most planets. A mystery born of turbulence we can only imagine. Neptune hosts storms of unimaginable power, dark ovals swirling quietly in the blue. Why do they form? How do they vanish? No one fully understands. And far beyond all this lies the Oort cloud, a distant, icy halo of unseen objects that may extend nearly halfway to the next star. It is a realm we have never visited, never imaged directly, a region of frozen bodies drifting slowly in perfect loneliness. How many objects lie there? How did they form? What distant events shaped their ancient orbits? The Oort cloud is like a lullaby of the outer solar system, soft, distant, unreachable. These mysteries, scattered across our planet and its neighbors, remind you that Earth is not merely a home. It is a story in motion, a gentle sequence of unanswered questions wrapped in sky, stone, water, and silence. Let them drift through you now. Let them soften the edges of your awareness. Let them carry you into deeper I sometimes think back to a night from my childhood, one I hardly understood at the time. I remember lying on the rooftop, staring up at a sky so wide and silent it felt almost unreal. A faint breeze moved across the city, the world around me slowly falling asleep, and I remember wondering if the stars themselves were watching back. That quiet memory returns to me now as we drift deeper into the gentle puzzles of the planets, mysteries just as distant, soft, and unhurried as the sky I stared at long ago. Let that feeling guide you, the slow settling of curiosity wrapped in calm. From that childhood rooftop to the vastness of our solar system, the gap seems enormous, yet something connects them, a shared sense of stillness. And so, as you settle further into this moment, allow yourself to imagine floating slowly toward Mars, the red planet that has inspired explorers, dreamers, and storytellers for centuries. Mars carries questions that linger like soft echoes. Did it once hold rivers, lakes, maybe an ocean? Evidence suggests flowing water once carved its surface, leaving valleys and channels like the fingerprints of an ancient climate. But what caused that warmth to vanish? What made its atmosphere thin into almost nothing? Scientists trace dust storms, magnetic decay, and volcanic history, but the full timeline remains blurred. Mars stays quiet, holding its secrets in rust-colored silence. Move gently from Mars to the asteroid belt, a region that behaves like a forgotten museum shelf of the solar system. Ceres, the largest object there, contains minerals that hint at water below its surface. Strange bright spots shimmer on its crust, reflections that puzzled astronomers until closer studies suggested salt deposits from ancient subsurface water. But how did a dwarf planet in such a cold, quiet region maintain internal warmth long enough for liquid water? Was it radioactive heating, impact-generated energy, or something we still do not fully understand? Ceres feels like a whisper from an older, quieter solar system, where warmth and chemistry danced in ways we are only beginning to imagine. Now drift further outward toward Jupiter, the giant that commands the solar system with its immense gravity. Jupiter's atmosphere is a swirling tapestry of storms, each one a dynamic puzzle. The Great Red Spot, a storm larger than Earth, has raged for centuries, yet recently it has been shrinking, altering its shape as if preparing for some final transformation. Why has it lasted this long? What sustains its energy? Why is it changing now after hundreds of years of stability? Even with modern models, the core of Jupiter's atmospheric engine remains hidden beneath cloud layers too thick for clear answers. The planet continues rotating with a steady rhythm, its mysteries calm and unbroken. Jupiter's moons deepen the enigma. Europa, with its smooth, icy surface, hides an ocean beneath that may contain more water than all of Earth's combined. Plumes of vapor occasionally burst from its cracks, hinting at hydrothermal activity below. But is there life? Are there volcanic vents warm enough to spark chemistry? We listen, we watch, but Europa stays silent. An ocean sealed by ice, its story unreadable for now. Shift softly towards Saturn, where another moon, Enceladus, sprays water vapor into space through geysers that rise from its south pole. These plumes carry organic molecules, simple ones but significant. They suggest hydrothermal reactions deep within the moon, a warm ocean beneath a frozen shell. Why does such a small world possess enough internal energy to drive this activity? Tidal forces? Radioactive materials? Something else? Enceladus glows like a lantern in the dark, small but impossibly bright in scientific curiosity. Titan, Saturn's largest moon, carries yet another layer of quiet mystery. Its thick atmosphere hides lakes and rivers, not of water, but of methane and ethane. Titan's weather system cycles hydrocarbons the way Earth cycles water, creating clouds, storms, and rainfall in a world that feels strangely familiar yet profoundly alien. Could life exist in such chemistry, in temperatures so cold that methane behaves like water and sand dunes form from organic grains? Titan's landscape speaks softly, as if inviting exploration while still refusing to reveal their full meaning. Now drift further outward to Uranus, a planet tilted so drastically that it seems to roll on its side. Its seasons last decades, its atmosphere appears deceptively uniform, and its internal heat is far weaker than expected. Why does Uranus produce so little warmth compared to Neptune, which shares similar composition? Was Uranus struck long ago by a massive object? Did internal layers lock heat away? The tilt adds to the planet's quiet strangeness, its uniqueness wrapped in pale blue calm. Neptune, with its deep blue color and powerful winds, carries mysteries of its own. Its storms form, fade, and reappear in unpredictable patterns. The planet radiates more heat than it receives from the sun, fueling atmospheric dynamics we still struggle to fully model. Why does Neptune behave with such energy while Uranus rests in comparative stillness? No one completely knows.
Even at the far edge of the solar system, the planets express personalities shaped by forces we cannot yet fully interpret. Beyond Neptune lies Pluto, a small, distant, icy world once thought simple, now known to be astonishingly complex. Its heart-shaped glacier pulses slowly with nitrogen ice that flows like soft frozen syrup. Mountains of water ice rise from its surface, as hard as rock due to the extreme cold. Beneath it all, some scientists believe there may be a buried ocean, kept warm by chemical reactions or insulating layers. Pluto, once dismissed as insignificant, has revealed itself as a quiet masterpiece of geologic diversity. Even farther out, we reach regions that feel more like dreams than destinations. The Kuiper Belt stretches outward like a great cosmic shoreline, its objects drifting slowly through the faint sunlight. Their surfaces glow with ancient ices, methane, nitrogen, ammonia, frozen for billions of years. Why does some of these objects appear redder than others? What chemical processes paint their surfaces? The answers remain soft, subtle, resting in cold shells untouched by warmth. At the edge of everything lies the heliopause, where the solar wind meets the interstellar medium. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 crossed this invisible boundary, sending back data that surprised scientists. The transition was not smooth. Shifts in particle density, magnetic field orientation, and cosmic ray intensity painted a far more textured border than anyone expected. Why is this boundary so irregular? Why does it ripple and shift? The outer solar system behaves like an ocean, not a line, a calm but restless edge between stars. And surrounding it all, the Oort cloud drifts in deep silence. Thousands, maybe trillions of icy bodies orbit the sun at distances so vast they complete a single orbit only once every millions of years. We have never seen the Oort cloud directly, yet comets that enter the inner solar system whisper its existence. How did these objects form? What cosmic events shaped their trajectories? The answers are still wrapped in darkness, waiting in the cold. As you breathe gently now, let these mysteries settle like soft dust around your thoughts. Let them dissolve into the calm forming within you. The planets keep their secrets patiently, and in that patience, they offer peace, an invitation to rest in the unknown, to drift in quiet wonder. You hear it first as a faint, almost imaginary sound, the hush of distant wind against an unseen surface, the kind of soft whisper you might notice only when the world around you has grown completely still. It feels like standing in a quiet hallway where air moves with no hurry at all. Let that sensation drift through you as we glide away from the solar system's outermost regions and into the vast sea between the stars. Space at this scale is not empty but softly textured, like a cathedral of silence stretching in all directions. As we drift further, imagine the stars not as distant points, but as gentle lanterns suspended in the dark. Each one carries riddles that have lingered for billions of years. The first mystery that greets us is the nature of starlight itself. How does something born in the fusion furnace of a star travel across unimaginable distances, arriving at your eyes with perfect precision? Photons, weightless and tireless, cross entire galaxies without slowing down. Why do they never decay? Why do they behave both as wave and particle, slipping between identities as naturally as breathing? Light moves with an unbroken confidence that feels almost supernatural. We measure it, describe it, model it, yet its true essence remains one of the softest puzzles in the universe. Glide now toward a star much larger than our sun. These giants pulse, tremble, and expand in cycles that resemble slow cosmic breathing. Some brighten and dim over regular intervals, while others behave unpredictably, flickering like candles caught in an invisible draft. What causes a star to enter these rhythmic patterns? Why do some remain stable for billions of years, while others collapse suddenly into supernovae, scattering their outer layers like blossoms carried on a wind? The life cycle of a star is a story written in light, but many of its chapters remain blurred. Whether a star becomes a white dwarf, neutron star, or black hole depends on thresholds we understand mathematically, but not emotionally. And
These stars spin with extraordinary speed, sending beams of radiation into space like cosmic lighthouses. But the deepest mystery lies beneath their rigid crusts. What is matter like when squeezed so tightly that atoms lose their identity? Do neutrons dance in strange quantum patterns? Does exotic matter, particles not found on Earth, form in those depths? Scientists build models and theories, but neutron stars keep their interior secrets locked behind gravity's immense grip. Further still, we meet magnetars, neutron stars with magnetic fields so powerful they could erase the data from every hard drive on Earth from halfway across the solar system. Their magnetic tension cracks their crusts, releasing bursts of energy that ripple across light years. What mechanism shapes such unreal strength? Why do only certain neutron stars evolve into magnetars? These questions continue drifting in scientific journals like calm ripples on a still pond. Now turn toward black holes, among the most silent enigmas in existence. Their gravity bends space and time so deeply that nothing, not even light, escapes. And yet, paradoxically, black holes glow. Through Hawking radiation, particles emerge from the edge of the event horizon. How can something that traps everything emit anything at all? This delicate dance between gravity and quantum physics remains unresolved, like two different melodies played together but never quite lining up. Black holes challenge our understanding of reality itself. What lies at their core? A singularity? A ring? A quantum froth? Or something stranger hidden behind equations we have not yet deciphered? The calm darkness around black holes provides a space to rest your mind, not with fear, but with the quiet acceptance that some mysteries are meant to be observed, not solved. Drift on, weightless, into regions where stars are born. Nebulous stretch across space like soft clouds of dust and gas. Their colors, invisible to the naked eye, but revealed by telescopes, glow in delicate shades. Why do some of these regions collapse into stars while others remain suspended in silence? Turbulence, magnetic fields, gravitational knots, all these forces interact in ways we are still trying to understand. Star formation is both chaotic and serene, like watching fog swirl across a valley before dawn. Within these nurseries, new stars flicker into being, surrounded by swirling disks of dust and ice. Planets form here, in slow, spiraling dances that last millions of years. But why do some systems create planets while others produce only shattered debris? Why does one disk evolve into a harmonious planetary family while another breaks apart into wandering fragments? Even within our own solar system, the balance appears delicate, almost accidental. Let your breath slow as we glide deeper into interstellar space, where faint wisps of gas drift across distances so large they defy imagination. These clouds appear diffuse, almost ghost-like, yet they hide profound questions. Why does cosmic dust clump the way it does? What processes create complex organic molecules in such cold emptiness? Observations show that amino acids and carbon chains form between the stars long before planets or oceans exist. Life's ingredients begin far earlier than we once thought. But what triggers the leap from chemistry to biology? No one knows. The universe prepares the stage long before life appears, but the final step remains an unanswered whisper. Now, gently, we arrive at stellar clusters, groups of stars born from the same cloud. Some clusters disperse quickly, others hold together for billions of years. Why does gravity cling tightly in some and release easily in others? These clusters resemble families whose bonds vary in strength and duration, shaped by subtle dynamics. Their ages help us measure the rhythm of galactic evolution, yet many details escape our full understanding. As you drift, notice the calm that arises from contemplating these questions. The stars continue shining regardless of our answers. Their light travels quietly across space, patient and untroubled.
Next, we move toward the strange phenomenon of rogue planets, worlds without a star. They wander alone, drifting through interstellar darkness like faint shadows. How many of them exist? Some scientists believe they may outnumber stars. Were they born alone, or were they ejected from young planetary systems during chaotic early orbits? These lonely travelers reveal that the universe contains more than the familiar structures we imagine. A little further on, you may feel the presence of star streams, faint rivers of stars that stretch across the galaxy. These streams are remnants of ancient galaxies torn apart by gravitational tides. What stories did those lost galaxies once hold? Their stars now move in long, gentle arcs, carrying memories of cosmic collisions older than Earth itself. Finally, let your mind drift toward the soft, dim structures known as interstellar filaments, giant threads woven across space. Their shapes hint at underlying forces linking gravity, magnetism, and turbulence. Why do they form long, rope-like structures instead of uniform clouds? These filaments act as cosmic veins, delivering material to star-forming regions, yet their origin remains one of astronomy's quiet mysteries. As you breathe slowly now, allow the vastness to become gentle. The interstellar medium is calm, diffuse, serene. The puzzles it contains do not demand resolution. They simply exist like distant echoes. Let them drift around you like soft dust, settling your thoughts. You are floating through a universe that asks nothing of you except to rest, to listen, to let the unknown become a lullaby.
Imagine the universe as a vast library, each planet a quiet book resting on an endless shelf, each one holding stories no one has read yet. Some of those books are thin, fragile, barely holding together. Others are immense, heavy with ancient secrets. And somewhere among them are volumes so strange that even opening them would change everything we think we know. Tonight, we pause in front of that cosmic bookshelf and gently slide one particular volume a little closer. Worlds that defy intuition, planets whose mysteries glow beneath their silent surfaces. Let your breathing soften as we open that book together. As we drift toward our first world, feel the gentle pull of curiosity. Many planets in the universe are not calm, stable spheres like Earth. Some orbit so close to their stars that their surfaces glow like molten metal, their day sides blazing at thousands of degrees. Yet what puzzles astronomers is not the heat, it's the strange winds that race across them. On some of these worlds, supersonic winds circle the entire planet every few hours. What drives that impossible speed? How does an atmosphere stay attached when its star is constantly tearing at it? These scorching giants remind us that even simple concepts like air behave in unexpected ways under alien suns. Now float a little farther, letting the silence guide your path. You arrive at another type of world, one coated entirely in water. These ocean planets may hold seas thousands of kilometers deep, deeper than any trench on Earth. Under such crushing pressure, water can take on unfamiliar states, forming exotic ices that behave like stone while still holding liquid oceans beneath them. If life exists there, it may swim beneath layers of ice harder than granite. How could such creatures evolve without sunlight? What kind of senses would they rely on? Scientists sketch possibilities, but the true shapes of these hypothetical beings remain unseen. From there, glide to planets that orbit two suns. Their skies shift between glowing dual sunsets and dawns filled with two overlapping shadows. On some of these worlds, the double star dance creates seasons more complex than anything on Earth. Temperatures rise and fall in patterns that never repeat. What would life look like under two suns? What rhythms would guide their cycles? Would their biology be tuned to one star or both? We simply do not know, but imagining it feels like tracing constellations on the walls of your mind. Now allow yourself to drift toward a different puzzle, planets that seem too large for their densities.
Some of them are bloated, as though inflated from the inside. Their atmospheres puff outward like soft, glowing balloons. Why are they so swollen? Heat from their stars is one possibility. Unseen internal processes are another. But the truth remains uncertain. Their puffy appearance makes them delicate, vulnerable, yet strangely beautiful. Giant worlds shimmering like lanterns in the cosmic dark. Breathe slowly as we approach another question. Some planets glow with their own light. They are so young and hot that they radiate infrared energy. But even older ones sometimes show unexpected warmth. What fuels these internal fires? Residual heat from formation? Tidal forces? Something else entirely? These glowing worlds act as cosmic beacons, reminding us that even in the vast cold, warmth can appear in unexpected places. Continue drifting now toward the colder edge of planetary possibilities. Here we find worlds made almost entirely of carbon. If the pressure is high enough, their cores could contain vast layers of diamond, entire continents of crystallized carbon buried beneath the surface. Do such diamond planets truly exist, or are they merely poetic ideas shaped from equations? If they do exist, what mountains look like there? Sharp, glassy structures catching alien starlight? No one has seen them, yet they linger in the scientific imagination. As you float deeper into the cosmic library, you encounter planets whose orbits are wild, oval, and extreme. In these eccentric systems, worlds swing close to their stars and then drift far away into cold darkness. Such journeys could produce climates that alternate between searing heat and icy stillness. Could life adapt to such dramatic shifts? Could something survive the constant expansion and contraction of its environment? We lack evidence, but even the possibility feels like a gentle whisper in the dark. Now let your thoughts settle as we reach rogue planets, worlds with no star at all. They wander alone, drifting through the interstellar night. Some are giants, others are smaller, perhaps Earth-like. Scientists suspect there may be billions of them, hidden in the void. What is a night like on a world without a sun? Does it even have a day? Does anything stir in the eternal darkness? These rogue worlds carry mysteries like faded bookmarks left in forgotten volumes. From here, you drift towards something stranger still. Planets locked in tidal embrace with their stars. One side burns eternally in scorching daylight. The other remains forever in frozen night. But along the boundary between the two is a narrow strip of twilight, a soft band where temperatures might be just right for life. This fragile zone, known as the Terminator, holds endless wonder. What would life be like in a world where dawn never turns to day and dusk never becomes night? What kind of culture would emerge in a place where the horizon is the most precious direction? Let your mind drift further as you glide into systems where planets orbit so close to one another that their gravity stretches them into shapes not seen on Earth. Some become elongated, like teardrops sculpted by invisible hands. These odd shapes defy our traditional sense of what a planet should look like, reminding us of the fluid nature of cosmic structure. And finally, imagine planets whose atmospheres rain molten glass, or where crystals fall like snow, or where metal clouds condense into shimmering storms. These exotic weather systems reveal how diverse chemistry becomes under alien conditions. On one world, sapphires might form in the sky. On another, metallic vapors could create neon-like glows across the horizon. The universe paints with a palette wider than our imagination can easily grasp. As you let these images drift gently through your awareness, feel the soft steadiness of your breath. The planets we have visited are not meant to be solved tonight. Their mysteries act like calming waves, rising and falling in your mind. You do not need to understand everything. You are simply here, floating through possibilities, letting wonder settle over you like a warm blanket. The universe contains more stories than we could ever read, yet each one hums with quiet reassurance. The unknown is not frightening. It is peaceful, infinite, patient. As you rest now, imagine these distant worlds returning to their silent orbits, each one a gentle light drifting back onto the cosmic shelf. Long before you reach it, you can already sense the shift coming, like the way the air feels different before a distant storm, or how a room grows still just moments before someone speaks. Something ahead in the cosmic path is waiting, something older than Earth, older than stars, older even than the swirling arms of our galaxy. And slowly, gently, as you drift forward, that presence reveals itself. The ancient and quietly mysterious forces that hold the universe together. Tonight, we move deeper into the hidden architecture of reality. Let yourself breathe lightly as we step into these questions. Nothing here is hurried. Nothing demands to be solved. These mysteries simply float around you like drifting lanterns. The first light that glows in this quiet darkness is the nature of gravity itself. We understand what it does, but not what it is. It bends space, shapes galaxies, guides planets, anchors your feet, and yet remains elusive. Why does mass curve space-time? What is space actually made of, if it can be stretched and folded? What makes gravity? Gravity is the oldest force we've ever known, yet possibly the least understood. Even Einstein's masterpiece equations describe its behavior, not its origin. You can think of gravity as a silent hand resting beneath everything, holding it all together without saying a word. Now drift a little further into the realm of deep physics. Here, reality begins to feel strange, dreamlike. There is something called the vacuum, a space we once assumed was completely empty. But modern physics whispers a different truth. The vacuum is restless. Energy flickers in and out of existence. Particles appear and vanish like tiny ghosts. Why does the vacuum behave this way? Why does nothing carry weight and energy? And most mysterious of all, why does the vacuum's energy have the value it does? If it were slightly different, the universe would tear apart or collapse instantly. This delicate balance feels almost impossibly precise, like a cosmic tuning so subtle that human words struggle to describe it. Continue drifting, slowly and comfortably, as we approach the quantum fields that ripple beneath everything. Every particle, every electron, every quark, every photon is simply a vibration in an invisible field. But where do those fields come from? Why do they have the
Why does the Higgs field choose its particular value, giving mass to some particles and not others? This quiet question lies at the heart of the universe, like a soft whisper beneath reality's surface. As we continue floating, we reach the puzzle of matter itself. After the Big Bang, equal amounts of matter and antimatter should have existed. They should have annihilated one another instantly. And yet, here you are, made of matter, living in a matter-filled universe. Why did matter win? What slight imbalance tipped the scales? This ancient asymmetry feels almost like a cosmic coin flip, and its outcome gave rise to galaxies, stars, and life. Without it, nothing would exist except a faint bath of radiation. Now, let your mind settle as we move deeper toward the possibility that space and time might not be continuous at all. Some theories suggest that reality is pixelated at the tiniest scale, like a mosaic made of indivisible fragments. But if this is true, why can't we detect those pixels? Why does space-time appear so smooth? Is there a hidden code beneath the world we experience? Perhaps the universe behaves like a vast simulation, not in the digital sense, but as an interconnected mathematical structure, where geometry, algebra, and meaning blend into one. As we glide through these thoughts, a new question emerges. Why do mathematical laws describe the universe so perfectly? Why does the language of numbers and shapes match reality with such uncanny precision? Is mathematics discovered or invented? Does the universe follow equations because they are true, or are they true because the universe follows them? This philosophical puzzle has lingered for centuries, drifting like a gentle echo through the halls of physics.
A little further on, we encounter the problem of time itself. Why does time move forward? Why can we remember the past but never the future? Why does entropy grow? Physicists call it the arrow of time, but naming it does not explain it. Time feels like a river, but no one knows its source or what sets it in motion. Some theories suggest that the universe began in a state of extreme order, and the arrow of time is simply the slow unraveling of that order. Others propose deeper origins still. Whatever the truth, time remains one of the universe's most intimate mysteries. Drift gently now toward the structure of space-time. It's a flexible fabric, yet incredibly strong. It bends under the weight of stars, ripples when black holes collide, and stretches as the universe expands. But what is it made of? Tiny loops, vibrating strings, emergent interactions, or something we have not yet imagined? The answers remain hidden behind layers of mathematics and observation, like an unread chapter in a dream. As you breathe slowly, feel yourself drifting toward the quantum realm, where particles behave like waves and waves behave like particles. Why does measurement collapse a wave function? What does it mean for a particle to exist in many states until observed? Where does randomness come from? These questions have been asked for a century, yet remain unsolved. And though they shape every atom of your body, they move through the world unseen, like soft currents beneath a calm ocean. Now, quietly, we arrive at the deepest question of all. Why does the universe have laws in the first place? Why is there structure instead of chaos? Why is there logic instead of disorder? Why is there something rather than nothing? No physicist has ever answered this final question. It stands like a still point at the center of everything, a cosmic pause, gentle and immense. Let the quiet of this moment settle over you. You do not need to resolve these mysteries. They exist peacefully, patiently, like stars far away. You are drifting among them, safe, unhurried, resting in the soft glow of the unknown. The universe holds its secrets with calmness, and tonight, that calmness becomes yours. You begin by feeling the faint texture of the air around you, a quiet, velvety stillness brushing against your awareness, like the soft edge of the dream you haven't fully entered yet. And in that stillness, you notice how gently the mystery opens again, inviting you back into the long, drifting corridor of the unknown, where each unanswered question floats like a dim lantern suspended in endless space. You breathe slowly, letting the hush of the moment settle, and you return, once more, to the expanding universe of things humanity still does not understand. All you have to do is listen, and sink, and follow the soft trail of uncertainty. You drift toward the next mystery, why symmetry exists at all. You feel it more than you think it, this curious balance woven into particles and forces, as if the universe prefers a kind of quiet order even while generating storms of chaos. The world operates through ratios, patterns, echoes, delicate harmonies that seem intentional. Yet no one knows why the cosmos is built upon such structured elegance. A little deeper now, you let your awareness loosen around the imbalance between matter and antimatter. You inhale slowly as you imagine the early universe, full of perfect pairs, positive and negative twins meant to cancel each other out. But they didn't. A slight excess, a whisper of asymmetry, allowed everything you know to exist. Why that imbalance occurred remains beyond every theory, floating unsolved like a soft glow on the edge of comprehension. You sink into the stillness surrounding the nature of constants. The speed of light, the strength of gravity, the fine structure number that defines the way particles interact. Why are these values what they are? Why not higher, lower, different? One tiny shift and the universe would unravel. Yet the constants remained fixed, serene, untouched by time. You let that quiet perplexity soothe you. Now you breathe into the hidden architecture of dark energy. It moves through everything, pushing galaxies apart with a silent persistence. Yet it cannot be touched, seen, or fully imagined. You follow it inward, letting the uncertainty cradle you. What is it made of? Is it a field, a property of space, a whisper of some deeper reality? No one knows, and the unknowing becomes another soft step downward into calm. You drift further into the puzzle of quantum collapse, the way a particle exists in probabilities until someone observes it, the way reality seems to wait for attention before choosing a shape. You exhale, slow and long, letting the paradox drift through you like mist. The world appears solid, dependable, but beneath everything is a shimmering question that refuses to quiet itself. The next mystery rises around you like a faint echo. Why particles come in families? Up quark, down quark, strange quark, charm, top, bottom. 6 variations that seem unnecessary, excessive, arbitrary. Why more than one? Why exactly 3 generations? You feel the question widen into gentle darkness, and you float within it peacefully. Then another mystery, the origin of spin. Particles rotate without spinning. They possess an angular momentum that has no classical analog. It simply is. You let the idea rest against you, strange and soft, a quiet reminder that the smallest things in existence behave in ways the human mind was never built to truly grasp. You drift, even slower now, toward the problem of time's direction. Why can time only move forward? Why does entropy grow? Why can you remember yesterday but not tomorrow? You let these questions settle like slow-moving dust, drifting downward in a faint golden haze. The arrow of time remains one of the most subtle and gentle enigmas in all of physics. You exhale, and the darkness deepens around you. Now you ease into the unsolved structure of space itself. Is space continuous or granular? Smooth or pixelated at unimaginably small scales? Does it fold, knot, tangle into unseen dimensions? Every possibility spreads before you like a quiet field under starlight, peaceful and infinite. Your awareness glides into the riddle of vacuum energy. Empty space isn't empty. Quantum fluctuations tremble through it endlessly, popping in and out of existence. But why is the vacuum energy so small yet not zero? You let the uncertainty flow through you, gentle as a drifting cloud, soothing and obscure. Another slow breath, and you reach the origin of primordial black holes. Some theories whisper that tiny black holes formed moments after the universe began, seeds of darkness scattered through early space. If they exist, they hide flawlessly. The idea coils softly within you, neither proven nor disproven, a quiet unknown. You descend further, gliding toward the unresolved mechanism of galaxy formation. Spirals, clusters, superclusters, immense structures arranged in patterns that resemble neural networks and fractal webs. Why do galaxies form the shapes they do? Why do they cluster in ways that echo organic growth? You let these cosmic shapes drift around you calm and unhurried. Now your attention moves to cosmic filaments, the largest structures in the universe, stretching across unimaginable distances. They look like threads of light woven by an invisible hand. How and why such structures emerged remains a question wrapped in the deep fabric of time. A deeper softness gathers as you encounter the quiet enigma of cosmic voids. Massive, empty regions where almost nothing lives. No galaxies, no clusters, only thin dust and silence. How did such vast hollows form? You allow the emptiness to steady your breathing, spacious and unbounded. You drift to the unexplained alignment of cosmic microwave background anomalies. Strange patterns, cold spots, directional alignments that shouldn't exist yet do. They linger in the background radiation like faint fingerprints hinting at physics just beyond reach. Another long breath, another descent. You turn toward the mystery of neutrino masses. Why are they so small? How did they acquire weight at all? Their intangible presence slides through everything, billions passing through you each second, unnoticed and unanswered. Then you settle into the question of gravitational waves before stars existed. Did ripples in the universe's fabric occur long before the first light? Are ancient signatures of cosmic birth still echoing through space-time? The thought drifts gently, like ripples fading across a vast lake. You move deeper, slower, softer, into the possibility of unknown forces. Hidden interactions might shape reality in ways humanity hasn't sensed yet. Their absence in experiments is a quiet, lingering puzzle. Again, you breathe, and you finally enter the unsolved nature of the universe's boundary. Does it loop? Does it stretch forever? Does it touch something else beyond comprehension? The edges dissolve into velvet silence, soothing and profound. And in that silence, you drift, gently, into the next mystery waiting in the dark. You sense it before it arrives, an almost imperceptible shift in the quiet around you, a soft murmur of something waiting deeper in the darkness. It feels like the universe is leaning closer, preparing to reveal yet another layer of the unknown. And as you breathe slowly, you let that subtle anticipation draw you inward, deeper into the long and gentle descent through unanswered questions. The next mystery rises through the silence, approaching like a distant pulse, steady and unhurried. You drift toward the unresolved nature of quantum foam. At the smallest conceivable scale, space-time flickers, bends, dissolves, reforms, a restless trembling beneath reality. Yet no one knows if this flickering is real or only a mathematical shadow. You let the uncertainty move through you like a faint wave, calming and slow. Another breath, and you sink into the puzzle of parallel universes. Do countless versions of you drift alongside this moment? Do endless timelines branch and fold, creating variations of every choice you've made and every path you never walked? You feel the idea expand around you, wide and soft, like an unlit horizon stretching past sight. You drift gently into the question of cosmic censorship. Why do black holes hide their singularities? Is the universe protecting you from the raw edges of physics, or is the concealment simply a natural consequence of gravity's depth? The unknown rests around you like a curtain drawn at the edge of a quiet stage. Slowly, you move into the riddle of Planck-scale geometry. If you could shrink yourself, past atoms, past particles, past the very notion of space, what would you find? A trembling lattice, a tangled mesh, a hologram, a loop of information, a structure beyond imagination. Each possibility dissolves before settling, and the dissolving soothes you. You breathe again and drift toward the origin of cosmic inflation.
The answer slides just beyond reach, gentle and elusive. You drift into the secret of the cosmic baryon distribution. The universe contains far less visible matter than theory predicts. Where is the missing portion? Hidden in dim clouds? Locked in unseen celestial structures? Or drifting in forms no one has imagined? You allow the uncertainty to steady your breathing, soft as mist. Another slow inhale takes you toward the enigma of supermassive black hole seeds. How did some black holes grow so vast so early? What were their first forms? Tiny collapsed stars? Exotic primordial objects? Or something stranger? The question unfolds slowly, patient and unhurried. You drift further into the mystery of magnetars. These ultra-dense stars generate magnetic fields trillions of times stronger than anything on Earth. Why are they so intense? What mechanism shapes their violent power? You feel the paradox contrast softly with your calm, like a distant storm observed from a silent shore. Your awareness loosens as you slide into the riddle of cosmic ray origins. Some rays strike Earth with energies no known process can produce. Where do they come from? What accelerates them to such extreme speeds? The possibilities drift through your thoughts like faint embers. A deeper breath brings you to the unsolved nature of fast radio bursts. Mysterious pulses, bright, powerful, lasting milliseconds, flashing across billions of light years. Their cause remains unknown. The bursts seem intentional, but probably aren't. Or perhaps the universe speaks in ways beyond language. You let that softness settle in. You drift further, slower, entering the quiet puzzle of rogue planets. Worlds without stars, drifting through blackness like solitary wanderers. How many are out there? What stories do they carry? What unknown atmospheres, oceans, and structures float in their lonely silence? The thought rests next to you, weightless and calm. Another step downward brings you to the strange tilt of Uranus, a planet lying almost on its side, spinning like a rolling sphere. What cosmic event toppled it? A colossal collision? A chain of gravitational nudges? The imbalance drifts through you, gentle and cool. You breathe again and move toward the mystery of stellar metallicity. Some stars hold abundant heavy elements, while others remain simple and ancient. Why such variation? What shaped their histories? The differences feel like quiet fingerprints scattered across cosmic time. You drift into the question of cosmic dawn. When exactly did the first stars ignite? When did darkness first give way to light? The timing remains blurred, wrapped in deep distance. You let the uncertainty lull you further. Slowly, you enter the puzzle of exoplanet atmospheres. Strange chemical mixes appear in distant worlds. Gases that defy current models. Signatures that hint at unknown processes. Each atmosphere is a quiet riddle drifting far beyond reach. You float deeper into the origin of Saturn's rings. Are they ancient, born with the planet itself? Or young, perhaps only a few 100 million years old? The lingering question moves like a soft shimmer across your awareness. And now you reach the hidden nature of black hole information. Does information disappear inside the darkness, lost forever? Or does it persist? Is it encoded on the event horizon, or neither? The paradox wraps around you, serene and unresolved. You breathe slowly, you drift without effort, and you feel the universe gently hinting that more mysteries wait ahead, unhurried, unending, ready to cradle you deeper into rest. A faint hush settles around you, like the quiet coolness of air brushing against your skin just before dawn. You feel the temperature of the room shift almost imperceptibly, inviting you to loosen your shoulders and sink a little deeper into stillness. In that gentle dimness, one more cascade of mysteries begins to gather, subtle, patient, waiting to drift toward you like soft ripples moving across a silent lake. You let the calm widen inside you as you move into the riddle of biological homochirality. Life on Earth chooses one molecular handedness, ignoring the other as though guided by an unspoken rule. Why did this preference emerge? Was it an accident, a cosmic bias, a hidden law? You breathe with the uncertainty, letting it settle lightly in your thoughts. You drift toward the secret origins of eukaryotic cells. How did complex cells, your cells, first arise? Were they born through cooperation between ancient microbes? Through engulfing, merging, or slow symbiosis? The early steps remain clouded, gentle in their distance, hazy in their beginnings. A breath guides you to the puzzle of memory formation. How does a moment transform into a stable imprint inside the brain? How does an experience turn into something you can revisit years later?
Scientists understand fragments, but the deeper mechanism remains softly veiled. You let the mystery rest beside you, quiet and unforced. You drift toward the secret origins of eukaryotic cells. How did complex cells, your cells, first arise? Were they born through cooperation between ancient microbes? Through engulfing, merging, or slow symbiosis? The early steps remain clouded, gentle in their distance, hazy in their beginnings. A breath guides you to the puzzle of memory formation. How does a moment transform into a stable imprint inside the brain? How does an experience turn into something you can revisit years later? Scientists understand fragments, but the deeper mechanism remains softly veiled. You let the mystery rest beside you, quiet and unforced. You sink deeper into the enigma of subjective time. Why does time seem to slow in danger, stretch during boredom, and vanish during joy? Why does the mind treat minutes so differently from hours? You feel the idea drift, malleable, like soft clay shaped by your awareness. You move into the question of emotions. The brain blends chemistry, perception, memory, and instinct, yet the full recipe for each feeling remains uncertain. What is sadness, really? What is joy? What is serenity? You let those questions float like faint lanterns in the dark. Your breathing remains slow as you drift toward the phenomenon of dreaming. Why does the mind create stories each night? Are dreams rehearsals, random signals, emotional processing, or echoes from deeper layers of the mind? The possibilities drift softly around your awareness. You slide deeper into the puzzle of déjà vu, that fleeting, uncanny sense of reliving a moment. Why does it happen? A misfire? A memory error? A brief synchronization glitch? No one knows. And the not knowing feels like a small, soothing breeze across your thoughts. You drift toward the puzzle of placebo effects. How does belief reshape the body? How does expectation alter pain, healing, and perception? The power of the mind remains wide and mysterious. You let that wide space open inside you like a dim, peaceful room. You breathe once more, drifting toward the origins of human language. How did the first words form? What pushed early humans to use sound for meaning? No fossil preserves the first sentence. The origin rests in silence, untouched and untraceable. You drift gently into the puzzle of laughter. Why do humans laugh? Not merely at humor, sometimes in fear, surprise, tension. Is laughter a social glue, a release valve, an evolutionary signal? You allow the questions to move slowly across your quiet mind. Another soft breath carries you to the origin of music. Why does melody stir emotion? Why do rhythms comfort, excite, soothe? What ancient forces carved this strange connection between sound and feeling? The unknown hums inside you like a faint lullaby. You drift into the question of love. This mysterious blend of biology, attachment, memory, and chemistry. How does it form? Why does it shape decisions, art, sacrifice, and longing? The enigma holds you gently, like a quiet hand resting against yours. Your awareness softens as you arrive at the mystery of emotional tears. Why do humans cry from sadness, joy, or relief when other animals almost never do? What purpose does this liquid language serve? The answer remains hidden in the folds of human evolution. You drift downward into the origins of myths. Why do ancient cultures, separated by oceans and millennia, share similar archetypes? Floods, heroes, underworlds, and tricksters. What shared mental blueprint echoes across humanity? You let the resonance flow through you, slow and warm. The calm deepens as you enter the quiet puzzle of altruism. Why do humans help at cost to themselves? Why does kindness emerge in a world shaped by survival? Is generosity instinctive, cultural, or something deeper? The uncertainty feels soothing, as though kindness itself were a soft mystery. You float toward the rise and fall of civilizations. Why do societies grow, flourish, stagnate, and fade? Patterns appear, but no single explanation fits every story. You let the complexity drift around you like gently swirling dust motes. A long breath carries you into the mystery of curiosity. Why do humans seek answers even when the search brings no reward? Why do you wonder? Why do you explore? Curiosity feels like a natural force rising inside you, gentle and familiar. You breathe slowly as you drift into the puzzle of Earth's earliest water. Did it arrive on comets, form in the mantle, condense from early clouds? The source remains unknown, slipping through scientific fingers like vapor. You move deeper into the enigma of planetary magnetic fields. Why do some worlds generate protective shields while others fall silent? What hidden processes govern these invisible guardians? The question floats around you, soft as twilight. Now you glide toward the nature of ice ages. Why do they begin? Why do they end? What delicate balance of orbital cycles, atmospheric shifts, and hidden feedbacks trigger these sweeping changes? The uncertainty glows faintly, calm and immense. You descend into the puzzle of mass extinctions. Why did so many species disappear at certain moments? What exact combination of events caused each collapse? The unknown settles across your thoughts like a cool shadow. You inhale slowly, approaching the origin of the moon's far side differences. Why is one side so rugged while the other is smoother, lighter, and thinner? What early collision or formation pattern shaped that imbalance? No answer is certain. You drift toward the storms of Neptune. Enormous, swirling, powerful, and still unexplained. How do they last so long? What fuels them? The unknowing crawls around you like a soft ribbon of night. And now, gently you begin moving toward the end of this long journey. You feel the transition as though the universe has started dimming its cosmic lanterns, one by one, preparing to leave you resting in quiet darkness. You glide toward the profound, unsolved truth behind physical laws. Why do these laws exist at all? Why are they
A faint hush settles around you, like the quiet coolness of air brushing against your skin just before dawn. You feel the temperature of the room shift almost imperceptibly, inviting you to loosen your shoulders and sink a little deeper into stillness. In that gentle dimness, one more cascade of mysteries begins to gather, subtle, patient, waiting to drift toward you like soft ripples moving across a silent lake. You let the calm widen inside you as you move into the riddle of biological homochirality. Life on Earth chooses one molecular handedness, ignoring the other as though guided by an unspoken rule. Why did this preference emerge? Was it an accident, a cosmic bias, a hidden law? You breathe with the uncertainty, letting it settle lightly in your thoughts. You drift toward the secret origins of eukaryotic cells. How did complex cells, your cells, first arise? Were they born through cooperation between ancient microbes? Through engulfing, merging, or slow symbiosis? The early steps remain clouded, gentle in their distance, hazy in their beginnings. A breath guides you to the puzzle of memory formation. How does a moment transform into a stable imprint inside the brain? How does an experience turn into something you can revisit years later? Scientists understand fragments, but the deeper mechanism remains softly veiled.